Llueve catchy is el fin one of those stretches where the days blend to sameness, like you're just going through the motions, convinced you've got the whole puzzle solved. That's where he was, drifting along in this quiet routine with my son. Though we'd always been tight, no question those easy phone calls. The occasional shared meal, but after he hit his 30s, it all just leveled off. Comfortable, sure, but not the kind of spark that lights you up anymore. Then came that getaway, so when he figured would be nothing more than a quick breather in the woods. Turns out, it cracked open doors he didn't even know were shut. Looking back, he wasn't thrilled at the outset. My circle of friends kept pushing disparate kid escapes, swearing they were magic for bridging gaps. It's like hitting reset, they'd insist. Made it dragged my feet. My partner, bless his soul, had left us 5 years back and Treval had lost its shine for me after that. The thought of hauling up with Theo or grown and carving his own path struck me more as obligation than adventure. It was salad, my boy reliable in that quiet way, but our time together echoed the old days less and less. Back when we'd pile into the car for spontaneous drives, windows down, singing off key to whatever ideal aesthetic we could catch still. When Theo floated the idea of a few days at a secluded spot by the lake, his voice carrying that gentle nudge only he could pull off, he caved. Come on, I'll shake things up for you, he said, sprinkling at the corners like he was pitching it already. And just like that, the people pleasing me, the one who'd always lated everyone else's needs ahead of her own, said yes without a second beat. Bex got us together, and off we went to discuss the hideaway Aldaman Cepines, right on the water's edge. It was the sort of place that whispered escape. Far from the ham-up traffic and to-do list, yet near enough to darryl well to target your sleep with memes. The lodge was simple, all weathered wooden white dips, with a deck that hung over the lake like it was eavesdropping on the waves. We rolled up as dusk painted the sky in bruised pebbles and oranges, sea sharp with the scent of them pet and evergreens. Stepping out, the chill beat just right, waking you up without the sting, Theo had handled the logistics. Of course scouting the spot, stacking the coolie, even sleeping in a playlist of mellow tunes for the drive. He appreciated it more than he let on. I had this knack for anticipating the little things that smooth the edges of life. We hauled our stuff inside, the floorboards creaking underfoot like old friends greeting you. The quiet repte undus, the kind, broken only by the lap of water against the shore. But underneath it, I felt this sad flatter knock wet almost. It had been ages since it was just us, no screens buzzing, no errands pulling us apart, no script to follow. What if the wets dried up? What if the space between us felt wider than the lake itself? We kicked things off with sape under the glow of lantern light. Plates piled with grilled trout Theo cut fresh that morning okay. Fine, admitted later, it was from the market. But the story made it taste better. The aroma of lemon and depths mingled with the faint smokiness from the outdoor pit, and Riate cross-legged on the deck, tossed dangling towards the water. Conversation meandered like the breeze were gripes, neighborhood gossip, the stray cat that kept adapting our porch vacuum. Then Theo steered it deeper, asking about the road trips I'd taken with his dad in our wilder years. He spun tales of that chaotic drive down the coast, how we'd argued over maps until we were lost in some nowhere town, and in a peta dive bar with live blues and pitches of cheap beer. We hauled over the meme of his dad attempting a tall step, all elbows and enthusiasm, while he clapped from the sidelines, cheeks flashed from laughter and a little too much wine. Theo leaned in, chin on his fist, absorbing it like he was filing it away for his own story someday. For a heartbeat, it pulled me back to those evenings when Theo was knee-high, wedged between us on the couch, eyelids heavy as we Spaniards till he dozed off. But as the embers died down, and doing smacks of chamomile inside, the attic Theo fiddled with the edge up his lip, a telltale sign he was chewing on something big. He glanced up from stain my tea, stinkling like secrets. Everything okay? He ventured, keeping it light. Exhaled slow, like he'd been holding it in for miles. There's this thing I've been mulling over, about you and me. My spoon post mid-swell. About us, his gaze dropped to the floorboards, then lifted, steady but soft. Ever since that's gone, we've coasted, you know, it's been safe, predictable. But lately, I felt this pull like we're skimming the surface when we could dive in. Ceril stuff, se heart habite. In is cashing out the messy bits, the dreams we shove aside. I think we owe it to ourselves to try. His words landed soft but sure, a pebble ripple in the can I'd built on my days. I'd pegged him as the steady one, Serakin our little duo, but here he was, laying bare a kite mirrored without naming it. Silence stretched, not uncomfortable, but charged. He set my mug down, reaching across to squeeze his hand, chaos from his carpentry gigs, warm against my cool fingers. Vulnerability flickered in his eyes, raw. Staying as well in my chest, affection tangled with a pen above his side. Like I'd been sleepwalking through our bond. He had no idea it weighed on you like that. He murmured, voice catching just a touch. Grapes had me in a fact, Theo. He pulled back without meaning to, build words to keep the head out, but you got caught in the crossfire. I'm sorry. He shook his head weak, that half smile breaking through. Hey, no apologies needed. It's not finger pointing. Just, I crave those late night talks we used to have. When you'd spill about your wild ideas and I'd pretend it was too cool to carry. Feels like we lost the rhythm somewhere. It was spot on, and it hit like sunlight after rain. I watched its head dwindle to weather reports and gross errands, sidestepping than the cants, so lonely in a side buried than the business, sensed until he navigated in his own quiet way. With each patch the holes left by his deceptions without separate band-aids, but never stitched them together. Right there, with the lenten casting golden pools and the walls and the lake memming outside, this wasn't merely a retreat. It was excavation, and anything that in the Coravas I'd let get the dust, so melted into confessions with hoarded like old letters. We unpacked the griffin layers, how I'd replayed his deaths left in empty rooms, how Theo had shouldered silence is setback to not bed and mi fede. Leste babaldap to, sharpened healing, overbatched family recipes, and that time we'd all chased fireflies till midnight, faces smeared with glow. Tears came unbidden, salty treks down cheeks, but they washed something loose inside me, and a tide carried so long, it felt like bone. By the time we banked the fight and headed to our banks, exhaustion reptas like a blanket, good exhaustion, the kind that promised a sweet sleep. Dawn crept in misty the next morning, veiling the lake in silver haze. We brewed coffee strong and black. Settling at the carved oak table, with Max steaming between us. The wild outside stood slow, a loon calling low across the water, lips rustling in the fast breeze. Theo broke the hush with his huge wallis, but his question lingered like fat. What's one thing you always itched to chase, but let slip away? Evelyn, cut off guard. At 59. My ledge felt full cares jaggled, homes nested, a kid launched into the well. But probing deeper, past the practicalities, and at the whispered silence years ago, lens a guitar, he admitted, the confession tumbling out shy, something about strumming out a melody. Letting fingers find their way across strings, but life piled on wheels, carpoles, the endless chain. Never carved out space for it. Theo's brow arched, genuine sparking he says, guitar? That's gold. Why hold back? He shrugged, tracing the mock rim. Priorities, I guess. Everyone else's dreams edged mine out. Felt selfish to claim a corner for just me. His quiet landed heavy, laced with a sorrow that mirrored my own unclaimed joys. It wasn't pity. It was recognition. Like a woman beyond sorrow side warned threadbare. That's a quiet kind of loss, said voice low. You deserve those notes, ma'am. So once only you can play. So words pierced gentle, and like in a drawer of water side but locked shut. My throat tightened, but he managed a smile. What I at the ages? Maybe times not all stolen yet, will it? It is it, says Tim Kellin applied and said questions, before pushing back chairs for a ramble along the short bed. The trail twisted rough and choked on the brush, sunlight slanting out through the canopy, dappling the ground in shifting patterns. Acorns crunched on the boots, and sound met with insect sound. At the end alive, we posted a cluster of birches, bark peeling like old parchment, and Theo skipped stones across a shallow inlet plank, each thus a small victory. I joined in, my trousers wilded fast, then steady, seridam sinus without wets. It was effortless, this being side by side, no agent but the walk itself. The woods held us like a secret. Muting the claim of life beyond, letting us breathe into the spaces with forgotten weather. Come afternoon, clouds gathered lazy overhead, threatening a sprinkle that never quite fell. We looked back to the lodge, cheeks pink from the chill. And collapsed into the deck chairs under the quick sandwiches and the themas up soup. Theo cracked open a book of poetry, he'd packed dog-eared, margin scribbled, reading lines aloud in the thoughtful drawl of his. One stack, something about Rives carving Kenyans overians, patient and relentless. Kinda like us, ha, MUs, closing se cabe, wearing down seraph spats. One conversation at a time, in added, subwarming my pants. It felt profound, this shift not seismic, but steady, like the lakes and the top pulling you deep without notice. As twilight bled into the sky, we anchored a battle nothing fancy, just enough to loosen tongues. 70 was start, berries, and oak and the finish, and we saved it slow. Feet propped on the railing, watching fireflies wing to life over the water. Theos welled his gaze distant. Last night got me reflecting on how we danced down the hard stuff. Celos, yeah, but also the water comes next. Eaten. The chair creaking soft, and, emet mayes, delivered we've been so. En kedin yesterday so good, se got wrenching, the tamarouse felt like a shadow. But sitting here, it hits me, there's still Cantandeus pulling toward uncharted spots. We could chase that, together, his insight landed like a hand on my shoulder. Feminine kind. He'd nailed it there with more than we'd lost. forgetting the campus still spanning nawe packets. Forward headloom faggy, lay street fear up fresh fractures, batting the suspended hash with the wine's warmth blooming in my veins and the stars pricking sevel but dark. Possibility flicked, not blinding, but beckoning. I drew a breath, senite a crisp with promise. Spot on, Theo. I plan to echo so tight, I muffled my own footsteps. Time to tune into the pace ahead, maybe even strum a few chords along the way. We clinked glasses. Se son the tiny toast unspokens, and leapt into the tizzy yet where companionship speaks loudest. It awoke something new between us, not the first day of his childhood, but a bridge, resilient and reciprocal. We were navigating the foggy walls now, charting fears and horizons hand in hand. Sunset until as avoidant mora canvas. Firelic then slayed the evening, our shadows long across the plain walls as we huddled by the stone hearth inside. Logs snapped and settled, releasing vests of pine-scented smoke that curled up the chimney. To poked at the blaze, sparks ascending like fleeting wishes. I watched him, the flames etching lines and his face stronger than I remembered, as holding the upside only glimpsed before. This place is waking its magic, I said. Voice threading through the crackle. More than a break, it's like a mirror showing me corners I've sidestepped for years. I glanced over, poke pausing. Yeah, like what? A nasty flaw this now. Buit visitations pollins. Se me, that's more than caretaker or keeper of memes. Se one itching for a guitar in her lap, fingers using over frets. And you're not just my kid anymore. You're this force, reminding me growth doesn't lack out at my age. His laugh was soft, genuine. Warming me more than the fire. Flattery gets you everywhere. But for real, mom, we both need a damn plug. Arisetto straight back to basics. You, me, no filters. Just real. Simple words, profound denke. In their wake isn't the pivot, not erasure of scars, but integration. Se pest folding into present like well-worn pages. We went the duo. Who died, tentative entrailed by ghosts. We were evolving, fates are knitting into something luminous. Sleep claimed me deep that night, dreams laced with chord progressions and lake reflections, Theo silhouettes drumming beside me. Morning and felt bright. Se mist bend of to reveal as I stretched totes a drum. We fueled up an oatmeal, studied with wild berries, tarbests that stand away fingers pepal, and benched far the afield, following a deer trail that crested a ridge overlooking Seguate. Se climbed loose and muscle steep front sitting, breath coming in past that fog head sea. At the top, wind whipped and triumphant, we sprawled down a mossy outcrop. Se lake below a mosaic up sapphire and emerald. Te unpacked the temas upside. Spiced and hot, pacing me a capas with traced cloud shapes, dragons, maybe, or lost kites. Tucked into his wealth, se cast and built at his shop, se client, WHO insisted on a drone like headboard carved with mythical beasts. Poshas me, admitted. Sipping slow, like how the streets pushing you toward the guitar. I chuckled, but he snatched lingered as it taking root. Se descended to a hidden cove. What a clear as glass, leaping its smooth pebbles. We shared shoes, wading in up to ankles, se cold shocking delightful. Teoanet a flat stone. Skipping it 6 times, records it with a boot that echoed off the far shore. It tried, failing spectacularly at first, stones plopping like stones do, until one kissed the cephas 4 times, ripples radiating out. See? You've got rhythm, I grinned. And my feet didn't feel like victory. Willing it there, toes numb. Sharing slices of apple from his peck, se just sweet against the chill. About that guitar dream, I said, casual as a breeze, don't let it take the dust. You poured into everyone else, Time you poured into Elena. So one with stories begin to be sung. My name from his lips, not ma'am, hit different a femin, like he saw the full spectrum. As well rose in my chest, Greta to take a cider steam. You mean it, and that fierce, that serious. I've got you humming tunes around the house. Lost in them. Credit where it's due, you've got soul in space. I'll hand down a start X if you want, sitting on your fest of wet strums. Left the babble, but beneath it, walls crumbled, so one side mortared with Sunday after his dead spacing. I'd cloaked myself in duty, widow, neche, survive, but here. Enkal deep in glacial kiss, I reclaimed Elena se dream with. Cayusos waiting, patience seeming, life still pulsing vibrant. Women that Becker's shadows lengthened, se pet familiar now, like veins mapping nowadays. Sape de teeth was past a cement with foraged mushrooms and dips. Candle flames flicking conspirates on the table. Forks dwelled, salsa cleaning. Rich and garlicky, and Theo's gaze held a gleam he couldn't pintender, resolute. This week's been a gift, I said, setting his fork down. Like we've looked back to our roots, but stronger, ready for whatever's next. My heart echoed as well. Full to brimming. Couldn't agree more, we've traded maps, you ending your steadiness for my reflections, and netting bits with buried. Feels like salad ground and deus again. I leaned forward, elbows on wood. Exactly, And it sparks this in me, let's not backseat up with Selagach. More of this, coffee clutches, trail heights. Se deep dives in everyday grind. No settling for cefas. Really flattered me, sweet as a wine with crectelie. Sincelos, I braced for drift, our orbats pulling apart like untethered moons. But his bow incedus. I pecked against a pool of routines. Emotion roughed my voice. Music to my ears, Theo. Will we be tame Sundays with strands and stories, no excuses. The night unfolded, in stories swapped like heirlooms, his death's infamous pien baking disestes. Sesame we built a fort from driftwood the edge.